Friends, welcome to my channel. Before listening to this story, I will ask you to like and subscribe. It's not difficult for you, but it's nice for me, and we're starting. What really hurt the most was watching her prepare for her love night. After she put on beautiful lingerie and stockings, I watched her lying in our bed and playing with herself, giving herself the fifth wonder of the world overnight. Then I watched her spend a lot of time applying makeup and fixing her hair, touching her breasts all the time. Then my wife put on a beautiful dress that I had never seen before. Then high heels appeared, and her whole outfit was unfamiliar to me. I felt betrayal, jealousy, and anger stir deep inside me. She was doing all this for Mark Diamond, her boss, not for me. She was making herself desirable to another man outside of our marriage, while I was working my ass off to provide her with a wonderful life and family. It was all incomprehensible. Our love life was amazing. Jessica was always attentive and never hid anything. She always made me feel loved, so there was no reason not to trust her. After 20 years of marriage, I knew her and never thought that she could change our marriage. Except for that one night a month ago at her company's dinner when her boss, Mark Diamond, the managing partner of the law firm, paid more attention to Jessica than I wanted. And there was a smirk that I caught when he looked at me after dancing with my wife, which prompted me. For some reason, I had a bad feeling that was bothering me, and it got a lot worse when I told Jessica about it the next day. The way she stood up for him and tried to make me feel like I was overreacting confirmed my suspicions. There are too many late meetings and missed lunches, suddenly registered as a red flag, and I have to deal with it immediately. The more I thought about it, the more furious I became. Jessica is Mark's personal assistant. Mark is the managing partner of a prestigious law firm. He's one of those guys who likes to flaunt his success with expensive cars, jewelry, a luxurious lifestyle, and his young trophy wife, Stella. She was a young 30-year-old, extremely gentle girl for whom he exchanged his ex-wife, with whom he had lived for 20 years. Mark likes to make jokes at the expense of others, and I remember him making fun of my work on one of our walks. You see, I sell screws and fasteners to large retail stores. It's not a glamorous job, but I earned over $200,000 a year, which provided a good life for my family. I gave Jessica everything she wanted and was able to pay for our daughter Sarah's college tuition. She was currently in her second year. We also live in a pleasant community with good friends and a comfortable lifestyle. Of course, I wasn't an influential broker and didn't earn $1 million a year like Mark, but we were happy. At least, that's what I thought. Anyway, the night he decided to make fun of my work in front of my wife and other people, I got angry not only because he was an arrogant asshole, but also because of how my wife defended him after I got angry because I was humiliated in front of her and others. So, Johnny, how are the nuts and bolts? I bet you get used a lot, ha ha ha. It must be fun to work at Home Depot every day. When I saw Jessica laughing, my blood boiled and I left without saying a word. To her credit, Jessica came over and asked me what was wrong. When I told her about it, she tried to take it lightly. Oh, baby, he's just kidding. He likes to have fun. You shouldn't take things so personally. Come with me, he's a really good guy. Against my better judgment, I stayed at dinner for the rest of the evening. Looking back, I realized that I should have seen the signs. But now I realize that I may have missed some danger signals. Damn it, I'm not a fool and I wouldn't sit still. I can understand the attraction to Mark from other people. He's an alpha, a big, strong, handsome man, a rich partner in the firm, someone everyone wants to be around. And Jessica was his closest ally in the firm, his valued and trusted right-hand man. Everything was going well. It didn't matter that he had a younger wife. For an asshole like Mark, he wanted it all, and claiming someone else's wife was definitely on his list. Well, over the next week, I acted quickly to find out if I was crazy or if my intuition was right. After 6 audio recording devices and 5 video cameras arrived, I started implementing my action plan. The first video camera was installed in a smoke detector on the ceiling of our bedroom. The next 2 cameras were installed at different angles of the bedroom to capture the full view. I placed the rest in the main bathroom and living room. All the video cameras had the ability to broadcast live, record up to 8K, and wirelessly connect to a dedicated computer that I installed in the attic, and it was all remotely controlled using a phone app. Apart from the video, the audio devices were unique. One of the audio devices was enclosed in a pen, which I put next to the kitchen phone. The other I discreetly put in her car. I put other standard recording devices in her 3 favorite handbags and one behind our bed. With this overlay, I should be able to capture at least 90% of her conversations and any activity in the house. I had a bad feeling about next week when I was going on the road on business. As always, Jessica was loving and turned my world upside down in bed, as she did every time I went on a trip. She always started with lots of kisses and sweet conversations, telling me how much she loves me. Her closeness and love were things that I always cherished, and she never let me down. She always knew when I was close and stopped just before I finished the job. At that moment, she moved on top of me and we made love. Then she rode me until she had 2 love spells that night. When I entered it, I said, "I love you so much and I love making love to you, honey." With tears in her eyes, she looked at me smiling and said, "I love you too, baby. You are amazing and I will love you forever." After a few minutes of this lovemaking, I got into a pose and started pushing harder and harder until I exploded deep inside her. She experienced another moment when we got together for the last time. It was an amazing night, and I felt so close and in love with this woman that I knew there was no way she could be unfaithful, and I almost gave up my surveillance plan. Fortunately, I left everything as it is and went on my journey, which will last 2 nights this week. I wanted to give her enough time in case something happened. We kissed goodbye, and at 6 p.m. I was on my way to take a 3-hour trip to the hotel. The trip allowed me to replay the last 6 months in my memory when I was trying to find something else. But apart from the 2 scenes with her boss, that smirk and his attempt to humiliate me, nothing changed, and a smile appeared on my face when I realized that I was being stupid and paranoid. When I finally arrived at the hotel, I checked into my room and turned on my laptop, relaxing on the king-size bed. It took a few minutes, and I checked my email for any work messages, and then clicked on the link to the server in my attic to view the last 3 hours. I knew there would be nothing to look at, but I needed to test the remote access system. I scrolled through the video at 3x the speed until I saw my wife in the bedroom, and then returned it to normal speed to enjoy watching my beautiful wife who was on the phone. What I didn't expect was a phone conversation with Mark an hour after I left. The video camera recorded the sound as I watched her lying on the bed talking to her boss. I could only hear part of her conversation as I watched and listened to the video. Her conversation with Mark. "Hi, honey, he's gone, and I'm all alone." "Yes, 2 nights this time. When can you come?" "Won't your wife ask where you're going?" "Oh my God, that's great. Can you spend the night with me?" "I really want to wake up next to you." "Oh, yes, of course, I'm all yours, baby." "Then what time will you be here?" "Okay, I'll see you soon." "I love you, baby." I was sitting in shock. We just made the most passionate love. She came at least 4 times and told me she loved me. Now, an hour later, she invites him to spend the night at her place. Who was this woman? How can she love me so much and betray me in a few moments? Is he coming tonight? For the next hour, I watched my loving wife prepare to meet her lover. Watching her take a shower, put on beautiful underwear, high-heeled shoes, and put on makeup after fixing her hair for 30 minutes was an incredibly painful and erotic sight. I always knew she was a gentle creature, and when she dressed like that, she was a shrew. The problem was that she had never dressed like that for me. Anger and jealousy raged in my blood when I realized that she was doing all this for Mark, and not for her faithful husband. It was too hard for me to believe all this. Did Mark really come over tonight, or was it just a misunderstanding? This last question was answered a few minutes later when the doorbell rang, and I saw Mark enter my house and kiss Jessica hard right in front of the video camera in real time. I took a close-up of their kiss, which made me throw up for the first time that night. "Wow, baby, you look amazing in that dress. I can't wait to rip it off your body and make love to you all night," he said, looking at Jessica with a wide smile. The exchange between them pissed me off, but that anger turned into incredible pain when I saw her take his hand and lead him into our bedroom. The pain intensified when I watched her undress him, and he stood there with that stupid smile on his face. He was a big man with a strong body, 6-pack abs. I watched it with jealousy, rage, and anger, but at the same time, for some reason, I was impressed by this asshole. Jessica was a fool in heat. She fell to her knees, took it in her mouth and shocked it, and then swallowed it while I watched in amazement. To this day, she never let me finish the job in her mouth and never swallowed my liquid. She said the thought of it was disgusting and it would never happen. But for this asshole, she did both in less than 10 minutes alone with him. My head was about to explode, and now I was dizzy with rage and hatred for this predator. After the second bout of vomiting, I watched and listened to them make love for the next hour. Obviously, I knew my marriage was over and I shouldn't have let it bother me, but their post-coital conversation was the most painful part of the night. The asshole started the conversation when they were lying together in each other's arms. So little Cook is gone for a few nights? Okay, you'll be mine for the next 2 days. I'm so happy that you can stay the night, baby. You know I've been wanting to wake up next to you for so long. I like being with you, Mark. Yes, I will love to take you over and over again all night long while hubby is busting his ass. What an idiot. Be a good Mark. I love him, and he's a good person. Then why are you letting me use you? Mark, you're the best man I know, and I like the way you use me. But we're both married, and we should just enjoy the time we can spend together. To be honest, I like the way I feel you in me. It makes sense. I love getting inside you too, but what I really like is the way you make me feel loved and appreciated. You give me more love and affection than my wife or any other woman I've been with. I just love how you make me feel, Jessica. That part really hurt because the love he was talking about was supposed to be just for me, but now I realized that she had shared her love with another man. I kept listening and watching them hug, kiss, and talk. Does Cookie satisfy you as much as I do, Jessica? He's a wonderful lover, but no, he's not like you. You're doing things to me that I can't explain. You know you promised me your ass tonight, and I'm going to take it. You said you didn't give it to Cookboy or anyone else, right? No one took my ass, Mark. But I'm nervous and I'm afraid it's going to hurt. I'll be gentle, but I want to own your ass and have something that your loser husband will never have. Mark, I've already let you finish the job in my mouth and I'm swallowing for you. I would never do that for him or anyone else. Isn't that enough? I was sitting there sad, hurt, with a deep sense of loss. I turned off my computer and could no longer listen to this betrayal in my house and bed. After hours of insomnia and fighting my anger, I realized that there would be a lot of pain and revenge in my future. When I got home, everything was fine, full of love and respect as if nothing had happened. Jessica greeted me with big hugs and lots of kisses. She acted as usual, as if nothing had happened while I was gone. Instead of the love I had always felt for her, I now felt disgusted and shuddered at her kiss. I did a great job of acting and behaved as normally as possible. I put all the recordings and videos together, made copies to the cloud as a backup, and created an encrypted file on my computer. Over the next 2 weeks, I made sure that every second Jessica spent with me was taken into account. I kept her busy and didn't give them the opportunity for a quick love. She even asked me when my next trip was planned. They obviously wanted me to leave, and one morning I overheard them talking as she was driving to work. When will your weakling husband leave town again? I'm not sure, but I'll find out. It's going to happen soon, baby. Knowing this, I planned a one-night trip to make sure he would arrive while I was away. The plan was taking shape. That same evening, when I was watching a movie on TV, my cheating wife asked, "Darling, when is your next trip?" I tried to control my anger and replied, "Honey, are you trying to get rid of me? Do you have a secret lover who comes when I'm not here?" I said in a joking voice. She didn't lose her rhythm or show any signs of guilt. "Don't be silly. I like it when you're at home. I hope you don't have to leave, and I wonder if your trips have been shortened." "No, I'm sorry, honey. The job still requires me to travel. Yes, I have an evening appointment next Tuesday, and I'll be back sometime on Wednesday." She said in a convincing tone, "I hate it when you leave. I wish you didn't have to travel like that. I miss you so much when you're not here." Then she came over, hugged me, kissed me hard, and made me feel more love than I can explain. When I realized that she was giving the same love to another man, I wanted to scream and throw her on the floor. But I kept my appearance and continued to work as usual, knowing that next week my plan would be put into action. On Tuesday, I packed up for the trip, and Jessica and I had our last lovemaking session. After tonight, there will be no more us. She kissed me wonderfully before I left that night, and I wondered if she had noticed the sadness in my eyes the last time I looked at her. I saw her expression change, and I wasn't sure what she was thinking. Showtime. Instead of leaving town, I went back to my office and parked the car. Then I went back to my desk to work late, which was not unusual, and the few people who were there never asked questions about my arrival. At about 7:30 a.m., the video camera turned on when Mark entered my house and kissed my future ex-wife gently once more. It was showtime. After turning off the video camera using the phone app, I put my mobile phone in my desk drawer as I did not want the GPS navigator to follow me during the trip. I quietly left the office, went to the trunk of my car, and took out a folding electric bike. The electric motor allowed speeds of up to 30 miles per hour and a trip range of up to 50 miles without recharging. I put on a black hoodie, looked around to make sure no one noticed, and set off on the 12-mile drive back to my house. My idea for the bike was to be stealthy. This allowed me to return home quietly and unnoticed for 20 minutes. I parked my bike behind the house and entered the rear sliding door, which I had installed so that it would remain open. Once inside, I got up quietly to make sure I wasn't discovered, and listened to the sounds coming from the bedroom. After I made sure they were going to do it and my arrival was undisclosed, I went to the closet where I put a short-barreled shotgun and an aluminum bat and took them to the bedroom. I carefully placed the shotgun along the wall outside the bedroom, picked up the bat, and quietly opened the door to the candle-lit room. Because they made so much noise when he used it, they didn't hear a sound and didn't see a shadow when I walked the short distance to the bed. My wife was lying on her back with her legs wrapped around his big body, and he was pounding on her, which was promised only to me. I didn't hesitate and landed a hard blow on the side of his head. The dull sound of metal hitting flesh was only drowned out by the sound of the 250-pound beast falling to the floor. While he was getting down to the floor, I grabbed the shotgun and turned on the light. That's when Jessica realized what was going on. Looking stunned and in shock, she screamed, "Oh my God, no, please no, this can't be happening. Why are you here? You should be away." "Well, you fool. Why are you making love to another man in my bed? That's a better question. Now shut the fuck up and be careful." The big man was in a semi-conscious state and was now sitting against the wall, and blood was flowing from a 6-inch wound inflicted with a metal bat. I watched him while he regained consciousness and noticed an angry man in front of me. "Fuck it, it hurts. Why did you do that, dude? Are you kidding? You're using my wife in my bed and you think I won't react? What are you going to do?" "What is it?" he asked, clearly nervous, looking at the shotgun I pointed at him. "Are you worried, big man? Are you afraid that Cook will hurt you? I know that you two made love behind my back, and today is the payback. I'm going to kill you, Mark. You're going to die tonight," I teased. I continued, "Everything you've worked for will disappear, and it's all for the sake of a little used fool. I hope it was worth it, asshole. Dude, if you kill me, you're going to jail for the rest of your life. To hell with that. We're all going to die tonight. How does that sound, asshole?" I wanted to instill the fear of God in both of them, and of course I had no plans to kill anyone, but it was nice to see how scared they were. I was acting all worked up, scaring them both. Jessica was crying, curled up and trying to cover her naked body with a sheet. "Baby, please don't do anything stupid. I love you, I really do. Put down the shotgun and let's talk about it." With an evil grin, I pointed the shotgun at her. "Shut the fuck up, you fool. It's because you wanted to find a fool and use someone outside of our marriage. Whatever happens tonight, it's all your job." "Look at your weak lover, you fool. He just pissed himself. I think you're just a little sissy. You're not really a man, are you, asshole? You need to wear diapers," I said, sounding crazy, deliberately letting them know that I was out of control. They knew they were in trouble and realized they had to calm me down, or I would kill everyone. The custom-made charges in the shotgun consisted of 25% salt and 75% capsicum oleoresin, which were used in pepper spray cans. I wasn't going to kill anyone, but rather I wanted to hurt this asshole enough and maybe damage his genitals a little bit to last a lifetime. I wasn't going to jail and I'm not going to kill anyone today. But since no one knew this, I wanted to seriously scare them so that these emotions would last a long time and they would never forget this night. After Big Mark recovered from the blow to the head, he became emboldened and decided to rush at me and try to disarm me, and I was waiting for exactly that to happen. I was shocked when I saw what the explosion had done to his penis. Even with a non-lethal projectile at such close range, the explosion tore the flesh from his penis and filled the surrounding skin with capsicum. Damn, it must hurt. A few minutes later, as he sat there writhing in pain and bleeding, I explained how everything would work. I gave the big man a kick to get his attention, all the while looking at my future ex-wife. "Listen, asshole, and so are you, my cheating wife. I'm leaving in a few minutes and you're taking this loser to the emergency room before he bleeds out. You're not going to call 911, but you're going to take him to the hospital in your car. You won't tell anyone how it happened or that I was involved in it. In fact, you'll tell anyone who asks that I had no idea about your affair. If any of you tell them that I was involved or knew about your adultery, then the videos, audio, and photos that I collected will go to the asshole's wife and partners in the firm. In addition, everyone you know will be sent a link to a website that I created with more than 2 hours of your love scenes. I don't care what lies you come up with for the police, but you won't mention my name and you'll insist that I don't know anything about anything related to this. Asshole, you're not firing my ex-wife. She will need this job as soon as the divorce is final. If you come after me or the fool refuses the divorce offer, everything will come out. At this point, it won't matter who gets burned, because I will use nuclear weapons and burn everyone, including myself if necessary. You both used me, so now it's your turn to be used. Take him to the hospital before he bleeds out and remember what I said. I left the same way I entered, fixing the lock and closing the door. I put the bat and shotgun in the bat bag and slung it over my shoulder. I quietly and imperceptibly headed out of the area. Riding my bike back to my office, I threw a bat and a shotgun into different parts of the river. Then I took off the surgical gloves I was wearing and threw them away before returning. Back at my office, I put the bike back in the car and was back at my desk by 9 o'clock. Then I went on my trip, saying goodbye to some of the IT staff who were working late. As far as everyone knew, my car never left the parking lot, and I sat at my desk all evening. It would be their word against mine, without any evidence in the event that they ever accused me. By the time I got home the next day, this shit had hit the fan. The story he told was that the last thing he remembered was going home to his personal assistant with some papers and then ending up in the hospital. He told the police that he did not remember seeing anyone or being beaten. He kept his mouth shut, knowing that I could ruin his life and career. Jessica was beside herself and didn't say a word about the incident. All she said was that she heard a gunshot, and when she went outside, she saw Mark lying there and took him to the hospital because she thought there was no time to wait for an ambulance. Neither of them could explain why he was naked, and both stuck to their stories. But Mark's wife didn't believe him, which soon became a big problem for Mark. I spent the afternoon removing surveillance equipment, uploaded everything to an encrypted cloud server, and threw the equipment away. All the remaining evidence that I knew about their affair was now out of reach in the cloud. Jessica came in around 6 p.m. and found me in the living room with a bottle of my good whiskey in my hands. I sat quietly while she sat across from me on the couch. She looked broken and sad. I had never seen her like this, and for a brief second I felt sorry for her. With tears in her eyes, she couldn't stand it and tried to explain everything. Johnny, I know what you saw is bad, but what you need to know is that I wasn't in love with him. I know what it looked like and what I said, and it must have hurt. But you know me, and after love, I need a connection. I said it all to you in my heart. It was all for you, baby. Whenever you left, I hated being alone, and Mark could keep me company, and yes, it became cool. But it was just love. You have to believe me. My mouth was wide open in amazement at the incomprehensible excuse she had put forward. Obviously, she was making love to him and thinking about me. So many questions and so little trust. Jessica, I've listened to your explanations, but I'll never get out of my head how you swallow his load. And although you said that these words of love were addressed to me, I can't help but believe that they were addressed to Mark. It's over, Jessica. 20 wonderful years thrown out because of your asshole boss and your adultery. We both have to live with your actions for the rest of our lives. Thank you for the pain and suffering you caused me. I will always cherish it, I said sarcastically. What should we do now? What is it? She asked, tears streaming down her face. Well, we're done with you. I'll never understand how you did what you did to me or why. I'm going to have to live with this forever. I will never be able to forgive what you did, but I will keep my promise and I will not reveal your infidelity. Sarah and your parents will never know that they have a cheater instead of a mother and daughter. I'll let you explain why we're getting divorced, but I warn you, don't make a bad guy out of me. If you do, it will end badly, because I will make sure that everyone knows that you are nothing but a cheating adulteress. I'm putting the house up for sale, and in the meantime, you need to find a place to stay. Since you've ruined everything, you need to move out. I'm not asking. That's what you're going to do. Let me know where to send the divorce papers. Sign the papers and don't resist the divorce, otherwise it will be painful for you and your boyfriend. Crying in her palm, she tried to speak. He's not my boyfriend and I don't love him. Can't we figure this out? Is there anything we can do? I know it's too late after what I've done, but I can't live without you, and I'll do anything to keep us together. I never wanted to lose you. Please don't leave me. You know, Jessica, if it was just about love, maybe there would be a way to get back through counseling or separation. But it was over when I saw how you let him finish the job in your mouth and swallowed his portion. It crushed me when you told him you'd never do that for me. Yes, I heard you say that. I also heard that you offered your ass to him, not me. These two things alone have robbed me of any chance of reconciliation. But what really put an end to my love for you is that you shared with him a love that was only for me. The words you said to him killed us and everything I've ever felt for you. I can't believe that you not only gave him your ass, but also gave him our closeness and love. And for that, I will never be able to bring you back or trust your love again. No, I will never forget or forgive your betrayal, and I will never want to see you or talk to you again. As soon as the divorce is final, you will disappear from my life forever. As for that asshole, if he does anything to piss me off, I will destroy you both without warning. After hours of begging me to forgive her, she left the next morning and stayed with her mom and dad until the house was sold. Over the next week, the police interrogated me and tried to force me to admit my involvement. I hired a lawyer, and we told them that if they did not provide any evidence of my involvement, I would no longer answer questions without a warrant. Since there was no evidence and I had an alibi, they left me alone. The incident was eventually reported as a random burglary and assault. Jessica and her family called and begged me to change my mind. I was told that she loves me and cannot live without me. She's sorry, please forgive her, please deal with it, consultation, blah blah blah. I stopped answering their calls and didn't answer the door when they came in. I changed my phone number and didn't talk to any of them anymore. Yes, the loss killed me. Every second of separation was painful, but the memory of her betrayal and how she gave her love to another man was something I couldn't accept. Now Jessica was a 42-year-old single mother who lived on her salary in a one-bedroom apartment. The pleasant life she had enjoyed was gone. Her daughter and family figured it out and were unhappy with Jessica and her choice. They blamed her for the failed marriage. Jessica was alone now, as Mark was more interested in saving his own marriage. Mark mistreated her at work and blamed her for his physical and family problems. He could no longer work with her and transferred her to the administrative area with the same payment. Her new job was tedious and boring, and she no longer had a prestigious position to work with one of the partners. There was a rumor that she was one of Mark's ex-girlfriends, and she was treated accordingly. Now, with a job she hated, no prospects for promotion, no friends, no husband, and no family who blamed her for the divorce, she fell into depression. She cried alone every night and missed Johnny with every fiber of her being. Her heart ached almost all the time, and she was constantly thinking about her actions and her loss. Sarah tried to help her mom, but there seemed to be no turning back, and she watched her lose weight. Jessica didn't eat right and drank a lot every night. She refused to take care of herself, saying that without Johnny, she had no reason to worry anymore. When Sarah turned to her father for advice, he sympathized with her situation, but he could not come to terms with the betrayal and never spoke to Jessica again. Stella really put everything together and made Mark's life a living hell. She forced him to move into one of the guest rooms, and he paid dearly for his infidelity. Stella eventually started dating several young men and kept Mark around to pay all the bills. She agreed to be by his side like eye candy at corporate events or business meetings, but they lived different lives. Mark will never make love again, and he will never have a woman he loves. For the rest of his life, he will remember how and when his whole life changed, and all because of his desire to take someone else's wife. Unfortunately for him, he lost all sensitivity due to nerve damage. He also lost both of his eggs after a shot destroyed them that fateful night. His anger towards me was epic, and he wanted to hurt me in the worst way possible, but nothing happened for months. Later that year, I was with my workmates for a drink when I was attacked and beaten outside the bar until my buddies came out to help. The attackers left before the police arrived, and I spent 2 days in the hospital with broken ribs and 20 stitches. I believe they wanted me dead, and if it wasn't for my friends, I think they would have succeeded. I knew it was revenge for Mark, and I wasn't surprised at all. 6 weeks later, I felt much better and called Mark's office. "Mr. Diamond, please," I said to his secretary. "I'm sorry, he's in a meeting. Can I take a message?" "Yes, please tell him to meet me at 1 o'clock this Friday afternoon at the French Deli across the street." "I'm sorry, sir. I don't make appointments with Mr. Diamond. Just give him a message. Write it down. Friday, 1 p.m., French Deli. Be there alone. Johnny." Just give him this and he'll understand what it means. Thank you. Lunch on Friday. I was sitting at the table facing the door when the asshole came in alone. He saw me and came over to the table. Sit down, I said. What do you want? I ignored his outburst and said, Thank you for coming today. Your people did a good job with me, but unfortunately for you, they didn't finish the job. Since you didn't heed my warning about any kind of revenge against me or my family, you forced me to act. I handed him a folded piece of paper and said, Here is a link to a website that is currently created just for you, asshole. Don't bother trying to shut it down as it operates from Syria with 3 backup servers in different locations. It's untraceable. I mean, you're fucked and your ass belongs to me. This is the website address. Check it out when you get back to your office. I wiped Jessica's face off because she doesn't have to pay for your sins. She's suffered enough already. Now, after you look at the website, I want you to think about how your company will perceive your actions, how your wife will react, how children, friends, and relatives will feel after watching the 2-hour video. I plan to post it on several popular sites along with your name, profession, address, and phone number. His anger was growing. Listen, you've already ruined my life and I'll never be the same in love again. Just stop it or I promise you'll be lost. That's why we're here today, Mr. Diamond. I want to put an end to this. You took away from me the most precious thing in my life, my wife. You've ruined our 20-year marriage and I can't let you go free. I risk being killed, as you put it, but I intend to avenge the beating your people gave me. Okay, calm down. What do you want? 2 things that are not subject to discussion. You will stop taking any revenge on me or anyone I know, including Jessica. You will deposit $1 million into this account by the end of Friday afternoon. If the funds are not credited to the account by 9 p.m. on Friday, I will start acting. I know what you're worth, and I also know what I can get in a lawsuit. So this paltry amount I'm asking for should be considered a gift. If I agree, how do I know you won't destroy me anyway? I'm a man of my word, and you're going to have to trust me. I'll say this, if you don't, then there is a 100% chance that this site will become known by Saturday morning. You are one of the most cocky assholes I've ever met, and I hope you suffer for the rest of your life for what you did to my happy marriage. The money was transferred. We sold the house and divided the property. Jessica had enough money to lead a comfortable life if she continued to work or found another husband. Mark left her to work as part of our deal, but they were never close again. The epilogue: Jessica never remarried, rarely dated, and lived with the pain she caused both men. She had lost her marriage and the love of the man she wanted to be with for the rest of her life, and now she found herself alone and depressed. She died before she reached her 50th birthday, a broken, sad woman. Only her daughter Sarah attended the ceremony of scattering the ashes. Johnny continued to work for several more years and retired to a small town by the ocean. He married a nice woman who liked him morally, but he was never able to replace the special love that only Jessica could give him. He never spoke to her again and only heard about her from Sarah, whom he adored. They talked every day and stayed close, but Sarah rarely mentioned her mom because she knew her father still loved her and didn't want to wake up his pain. Jessica's death saddened him, but it also brought final relief to the deep longing he had been keeping locked up.